Hey everyone, it's Onorato and Miller. It's just Onorato though this week, although we are guest heavy, and Ash is part of both of those guest segments. Siena basketball head coach Gerry McNamara on Onorato and Miller for the first time, and two-time Grammy award-winning singer-songwriter Jason Mraz with us this week as well. Huge show, guest heavy. Two really fun conversations, though, worth hanging around for on this week's show. A blockbuster trade between the Knicks and the Nets. Love when we see those, kind of rivals make a trade, which I think both benefit from. And I wonder will the Yankees and Mets be the next to do it. We'll talk about that on the show. NBA draft, of course, also as we come at you on a Wednesday afternoon, early edition. So if you're watching us over the weekend on TV or normal time, be it at night on News Channel 13 social medias, we were live on a Wednesday afternoon. And everybody's reacting to this. I will as well. These coaches, they just don't get it. And Texas A&M's baseball coach, now Texas's baseball coach, Jim Schlossnagle, is the latest to just not understand how to handle a press conference or deflect a question when you already know you're taking another job. Come on, guys. This is not difficult. Let's get going.
This is Onorato and Miller, sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Alpenhaus, Marcella's, Bev's, Novice, Performance Industrial, and Saratoga Casino Hotel. Sam is with us. Here's the beautiful thing. Okay. Follow, like News Channel 13 on Facebook. You'll get the alerts when we go live. And Sam is right on it. He's with us this afternoon. Good to have Sam with us. I will rant on Jim Schlossnagle, the former TCU and Texas A&M baseball head coach, for the way he handled himself during a post-game press conference, albeit after a very difficult loss. You're a grown-up. You're in your 50s. Do better. And this goes for any coach. Do better. Don't get up in front of a fan base, in front of the alumni, in front of the donors and say, this is my dream job, when it really isn't, okay? You know there's a bigger job out there for you that you might take. Just know that going in, okay? Be grateful for the job you have, say that, and move forward with however you plan to address the fan base and how you plan on winning and all that. We will get to that. But this thing didn't come out of nowhere because it makes sense for the Nets to shop their superstar, or their star anyway, Mikal Bridges, and boy, did they get a haul in return from the Knicks. On the surface, I'll just say it, both sides won this trade. Smart by Brooklyn, smarter by the Knicks to say we are all in right now. We believe our window is now. I'm not going to worry about these first-round picks down the road. We are so championship desperate. We're selling out to try to win right now. Whether or not we believe they're good enough to beat the Bostons and Denvers of the world is for maybe another day in conversation. But let's just look at the trade here that happens before NBA draft night, which is, I love, because we're going to get more activity, I think, in the first round on Wednesday night. Mikal Bridges, good defensively, shoots the three well, under contract for the next 2 seasons. Immediate plug-and-play guy, along with Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo. We call it Nova 2.0. Here it is. Pretty incredible, huh? What they're building in New York. And look, if Tibbs doesn't get the job done this year, you bring in Jay Wright, obviously. Jay Wright won 1 title with all 4 of these guys, 2 titles with 3 of the 4. Josh Hart had moved on, but Brunson, DiVincenzo, and Bridges won 2 titles together at Villanova. Can they win an NBA championship is the question now. that the Knicks have gone all in. And if you're a fan of the Nets, you'll remember lost causes like the trade with Boston, which brought them Pierce, Garnett, 2 future Hall of Famers, and a third player. Mikal Bridges, not currently a future Hall of Famer, but maybe more current day promise than what the Nets were chasing then. There were guys who had already kind of done it and passed their prime. Bridges in it, coming into it. And so this made sense for New York. Made sense for Brooklyn. You're going nowhere. New head coach. You trade Bridges. They're going to try to move Cam Johnson. This is a complete reset in Brooklyn. And they are loaded up. Look at what they have over the next 7 years. 16 first-round picks. And for the people out there who say, yeah, well, that's what their draft picks. We don't know what they are yet. True. But look at what Oklahoma City has done so far. More to go, obviously, in the way of postseason success, but they loaded up on first-round picks. They found their superstar in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then you fill in around him. So Brooklyn is hoping, because we point out the 4 picks in 2025, Brooklyn is hoping that their superstar is in that 25 draft. Maybe it's Cooper Flagg, or it's in the 26 draft, and it's Cameron Boozer. If they get one or both of those guys, come on. But if they get one, that's your building block. That's your superstar of the future. That's your guy on a rookie contract to then maybe lure free agents to play with them. So again, the deal here, a 25, 27, 29, and 31 first-round pick from the Knicks, a pick swap in 28, and the 5th first-round pick that isn't listed there comes from the Milwaukee Bucks. Nets did well. Sam says it's going to be empty next season. Yeah, it will be. Right? Short-term pain for long-term gain. And I mentioned trading Cam Johnson. Easier to do that than to trade Ben Simmons. But they will try. They will try, Sam. No doubt. Can you get rid of Ben Simmons? We'll see. Nick already jumping on the dirty, difficult done here. Joe Burrow's backless suit. Was that in Paris? I think it was in Paris. It was somewhere overseas in Europe at a fashion show with his former LSU wide receiver Justin Jefferson. They were walking something of a runway at a fashion show, and Burrow was wearing a backless tuxedo. Interesting look. All right, we're back in a minute here on Onorato and Miller.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through product and purpose. Claim your crown.
Imagine coming home and slipping into your own personal hot tub from Wellness Spas. Our team at Alpenhaus wants to help you relax and enjoy the advantages of owning your very own hot tub. Visit us at Clifton Park Center in our newly expanded showroom on Route 30 in Amsterdam.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
All right, here we go. Back on Onorato and Miller. And our guests ahead still on today's show, Gerry McNamara, the head coach at Siena, and Jason Mraz, the 2-time Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter, coming to Tanglewood Tuesday, July 2nd. Get your tickets now to see Mraz. A really fun conversation we had with him, still coming up on the show. Texas A&M's head coach, Jim Schlossnagle, was confronted with a difficult question to handle in the moment because his team had just lost in the World Series deciding Game 3 against Tennessee. Aggies won Game 1, Volunteers won Games 2 and 3. And a reporter asked him about the speculation involving Schlossnagle taking the Texas job. Okay? And this is part of his quote. I took the Texas A&M job to never take another job again. Now, we all set our own kind of ceilings and limitations, right? I'm probably not good enough to do that. They'll never call me and offer me that. But even doing that, if he were to somehow win 4 straight national championships at Texas A&M, and any major league team needs a new manager, and they, for some reason, call Jim Schlossnagle, he's passing up that job? We have to be broader with the way we think about these press conferences and what we're saying, choosing our words carefully. Words matter, right? And you hear coaches do this all the time. This is my dream job. I will never work anywhere else. I plan on finishing my career here until the better job calls, until the bigger contract is offered. Come on. Just be honest. I'm so humbled to have this opportunity. Never thought I'd be in a position to take the Texas A&M job in my life. Boy, I'm going to give this thing everything I've got. And I hope to bring a national championship here to College Station. That's my number one goal, my priority, my short-term vision. Whatever happens beyond that, I can't say today. This is where I am, where I want to be, and I'm going to give it everything I've got. It's easy. It's easy. I mean, here's some of the more of the quotes. He started off his answer to this reporter. I think it's pretty selfish of you to ask me that question, to be honest with you. I left my family to coach at A&M. He went on to say, I've poured every ounce of my soul in this job. Write that. This is akin to, and I say this all the time with some of the way we write in news, it's not a story that someone is trying. It's not a story that he pours every ounce of his soul into the job. That's the job. That's the expectation. If he were shirking responsibilities, showing up late to the office, not available for every practice, that's a story. You're not doing your job. This is your job. I'm not praising you for doing your job. So I'm not writing that because that's not interesting. Who is Jim Schlossnagle? This might be who he is. A guy who doesn't get it. At TCU in 2021, he was asked about the Texas A&M job. And he said, quote, I have no interest in any other job. Not true. If the New York Yankees called, you'd probably have some interest. Come on. This isn't like a marriage where you're like, hey, I'm not interested in any other women. True, you shouldn't be. But a job is a job. And we're only loyal to the point of our options. A better option, a better job, a better contract, a better paycheck comes along. Guess what? You'll be interested. I'm not saying you're going to take it, but you will be interested. Be foolish not to be interested, to consider it. So again, just another example of a head coach who doesn't get it. Sam says, yeah, coaches, administrators, like politicians, never say the truth. You say what they want to say. Say what they want people to hear, what they feel like they want, what people want to hear. Yeah. I mean, think about TCU to A&M to Texas. Not making a lot of friends in the state of Texas. Or maybe he is, because he's hitting every single fan base. Baylor, Texas Tech would be the next ones. All right, let's take a quick break on Onorato and Miller. Jason Mraz coming to Tanglewood on July 2nd. He's our guest next on Onorato and Miller.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bev's, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bev's. At the end of the day, if you walk in your stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
Alpenhaus has been your source for fun since 1964, and we're going to continue to help you make memories for years to come. It's our 60th anniversary, and we can't wait to celebrate with you. Save thousands on this Thor Motor Coach Class B RV, and check out the amazing low monthly payment on this Coachman travel trailer. With a lineup of the nation's top brands, our outfitters are sure to help you find the perfect RV for your family. Start making memories today. Alpenhaus, your total camping outfitter for 60 years.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Ash, you know I have this rule where I say if you were to ever accept an award, don't start listing people because you'll inevitably forget someone. I'm never going to win an award, so I don't have to worry about that. But along those same lines, I feel like it's a dangerous game to start comparing people you don't know to other people you don't know, especially in the creative space, because they're also uniquely their own, right? Okay. But I said to you before our guest pops on here, when I first heard his music, I thought he might be a weird cross between Jamiroquai and Eminem. There are qualities to both.
This is why you can't have him in the background. His reaction is so good.
So, and then I thought, is that cool enough? Will he like that enough? I don't know.
Let's find out.
We're talking about Jason Mraz. I mean, this is beyond for us. Beyond for this little show in Albany, New York, ahead of his concert at Tanglewood in Lenox, Massachusetts. Jason Mraz, the multi-Grammy award-winning artist with Onorato and Miller. Jason, it's great to have you on, man. How are you?
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, and thank you for those comparisons. I don't mind. I was a huge Jamiroquai fan as a young person, still am. And of course, Eminem was did great things for multi-syllabic phrases, which I've been a fan of as well. In fact, about 25 years ago, I did have a short blonde haircut, and I remember walking through the mall and someone said, "Yo, Eminem." So I changed my hair after that. I just let it grow natural, but that was the only other time I was compared to him.
I get a lot of "Yo, Carrot Top" or "Yo, Prince Harry" kind of stuff. It's not the same.
Yeah. I don't get "Yo" anybody. Yeah. Nobody cares that much for me. Jason, when you look at your music and you try to talk about genres and comparing, you've got words like folk, pop, rock, blues. What are you? Can you put, or do you just choose to not put yourself in a box because you kind of encompass so many different things?
Yeah, there's so much out there. And nowadays we can listen to anything. We can jump around from genre to genre, and there's so many different types of musical mashups. I've always tried to keep my heart open and my ears open to new experiences. And as a writer and performer, I'll occasionally hear something and kind of become obsessed with it and wonder, what would that feel like to be completely enveloped in that rhythm and tone? And because of that, I've made a reggae album, and I've experienced Broadway, and I've done melancholy, and I've done pop and some jazz. And so I want to keep my options open.
You're missing rap, though. We're missing the rap genre.
You know, there's, even in my song, "I Won't Give Up," it's a big ballad. The bridge, I consider the bridge to be a rap song.
Me too.
You know, it's the cadence is really driving, and every beat gets a syllable to fill out the phrase. And I feel I could only have done that in that ballad, having had, you know, an affection for rap music.
Yeah.
July 2nd at Tanglewood. There you see it on the bottom of your screen, bso.org. Or just jasonmraz.com. Easy way to get tickets to this incredible venue.
Beautiful venue.
In Lenox, Massachusetts, not even an hour away from Albany, New York. So we are so thrilled to be able to talk about that here on this show. I used to have in heavy rotation, you and I, and Geek in the Pink, which we were listening to.
We were.
But I feel like dancing is like a new anthem for summertime, windows down. Do you ever think about like
where people will be listening to some of your music as you write it or record it?
I try to, but you really can't predict where people will feel it. Some people, this might be what they play when they're cooking and they're dancing around the kitchen. Others, it's a backyard pickleball game. I have no idea. I just try to make it feel like a good time, and that it's something that I'm going to want to repeat. So it's going to be a good time that I get to have over and over again. And if I can stand it, I have to assume other people are going to enjoy it as well.
Jason, I grew up with your music, but I'm not that much younger than you. But I brought up your name the other day in my office, and my 20-year-old intern almost fell off her chair. And I said, hold on a second. You don't listen to Jason Mraz. And she said, are you kidding me? Yes, I do. And I watched every episode of Dancing with the Stars. And I thought, wow. Does that make you feel good to know that you're reaching the 38, 40, 50-year-old women as well as the 20-year-old girls who are still in college?
Incredible. I feel like a contest winner. I don't know how I did it. I've been very lucky to have a career standing in the corner of a coffee shop playing my songs. And the size of the coffee shop has changed a few times. And obviously we're going to be at Tanglewood this week, which is a huge honor. And, and I never know who's going to show up. And to look out at the audience and see an audience of all ages and all backgrounds is a real tremendous honor. And I have to assume people are giving me their greatest wealth, which is their time and attention. And so it's up to me then to use my superpowers for good and really fill that time with purpose. And that could be why it's attracting people of all ages, and it's always a good experience. Dancing with the Stars definitely helped reach a wide audience. And 15 years ago, I had a chance to do Sesame Street. And I think I connected with really young people back then, and now they're coming of age and still listening to my songs. So I've had these really interesting breaks in my career that have contributed to my longevity.
When you're up on stage, and maybe this question applies to, like, your answer is different for venues along the way, but I'll ask it broadly and you tell me here. Is there one song that you've got on the playlist that, okay, the crowd is going to go wild as soon as they first hear the first chords, keys, whatever?
I mean, it's usually I'm Yours. And there's a few songs in the set that have these moments, but those moments are based on what era you came on board. Like you're obviously in the Geek in the Pink era, but there's other people that came on board in the Yes era or Love is a Four-Letter Word era. But something about I'm Yours, when you play that opening riff, do do do, boy, everyone just lights up, and it's really their song at that point, and all I got to do is go along for the ride.
Jason, this is a fan question. A friend of mine who loves you, I said, if you could ask Jason Mraz a question, and she's also a musician, what would you ask? And she said, I would ask him if a song like Remedy, if he ever gets sick of playing that in some of your old stuff and you trend more towards your new stuff, or does the reaction of the crowd for those songs still kind of get you jazzed up and bring back memories?
If the lyric has a timeless quality to it, and in the Remedy, it says, I won't worry my life away. I mean, we always need to remember that mantra. And so that song still resonates. And if an arrangement or a version of a song gets tired, just change the arrangement, change the tempo, change the key, mix it up, spin it in a different genre, but the words remain the same. The melody remains the same. And it still works. It feels so great. Occasionally there is a song like Geek in the Pink, I'll say again, where, who I am today doesn't reflect the same attitude I was when I sang that song. So it's harder to perform that song today and put on a show in that character. Whereas other songs like The Remedy still sing very truthfully. Yep. And so truth definitely stands the test of time, whereas clever only seems to have its moments.
Interesting.
Very cool.
I like that. Okay. I want to point out some of the great things that I've learned you are doing. You have your own foundation. Good Tidings sounds like a really cool collaboration.
Okay.
What is it about those types of things, your ability to influence and continue to promote the arts and acceptance across the board with a little bit of athletics in there too, by the way. What got you behind those, really?
Well, I grew up in programs like that. I was lucky to have performing arts in our public school, but I still did after school programs and summer programs in various nonprofit organizations. And when I was a kid, I didn't think anything of it. You just go to summer camp and you play and you learn and you get creative. But as an adult, I looked back on those programs and realized that was only made possible by donors in the philanthropic community. People who were paying tuitions for kids, people who were giving grants to those schools to pay for the teaching staff and to keep the lights on. And so I thought, me becoming successful, again, feeling like a contest winner, I've been given way more than I ever dreamed I would have. So it's important for me to carve into this whole experience a piece of the pie that would always give back and continue to promote these same programs that made me who I am. Because there's a lot of young people out there that may not even be pursuing a career, but the creative arts is going to just help you develop and evolve into such a collaborative and communicative person. And you'll know yourself better through the practice of artistic creativity. So I think it's very good for the human race to have the creative arts in programming to some degree. So that's why I created a foundation to breathe life into the advancement of equality and inclusive arts education specifically.
What instrument can't you play that you wish you could?
Good question. I mean, I don't play any instrument very well, but I play them all. And I think that's what's most important is, don't fear any instrument. They're just waiting for you to do whatever it is you can do with it. Right. So just bang on it and start getting a sound to come out of it. And then be repetitive with that sound and see if you can create a pattern, see if you can create a pretty tone, see if you can create a progression of chords or melodies even. There's no right or wrong way to do it. And so I try to do as much as I can, play as many instruments as possible when I build a song and build a demo. And then I call my very talented musician friends to come over and I play them my demo. I say, this is what I'm trying to do. Now you play the piano and let me see how you sound.
Make it sing. Make it sing.
Yeah.
So much of your lyrics, your album titles, album artwork seem to revolve around love, number one, positivity, number two. Is that just inherently who you are? I mean, it feels like so much of it is just messaging that more now than ever people need to hear. Like Have It All is my favorite song of yours because I can't get enough of the messaging. I can't get enough. That's
right. That's great. I didn't know what I'd be when I first started this journey, and I was a bit of a punk, and I think choosing music and rock and roll is somewhat rebellious and sort of a counterculture attitude. And shortly after The Remedy came out, it had such an impact on me as a writer and on audiences hearing the positive lyric of I won't worry my life away. It shifted my writing style so that I could be more thoughtful, and knowing that an audience was going to give me their time and attention and sit down in a coffee shop or a venue and listen to me play, I wanted to really make the best of that time. And so by sharing my more positive and transformative experiences in songs, that seemed to just have a better outcome with myself and the audience. Whereas if I ever sang a sad song or an egoic or, silly jokey song, it has its moment, but it doesn't really mean much beyond that moment. So through the years, I just tried to, again, use my superpowers for good and share what I thought was important. And that has made a very long catalog of meaningful songs. Some wisdom is derived from a yoga class. I'll hear a yoga teacher say something, or I'll read a great book that's filled with wisdom. And the best way for me to remember that is to weave it into a song so that I can sing it again and again and remember it myself. And then if I can pass this wisdom on to an audience, then I think maybe then, they can live in the moment and they can not give up and they can have it all and they can not worry their life away. And all these just sort of easy, love-filled messages that I think we always need to remember.
On last week's show, we had Donny Osmond on, who was also on Dancing with the Stars and also played in Joseph and the Technicolor Amazing Dreamcoat, right? Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yeah.
So there are some, but I will say this, Donny, as far as I know, cannot pull off every possible variation of a hat. Jason can wear any hat and he looks good in it. And there's a skill to that.
I like the pink as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have a closet full of hats.
Too.
Little beanie,
Closet full of hats, all different shapes and sizes, beanies, fedoras, cowboy hats, garden hats, ball caps. My stepdad put a hat on my head when I was in second grade. I was 7 years old, and a permission slip in my hand so that I could take it to school and say, Jason has permission to wear this hat in the yearbook because it goes with his outfit.
Oh, yeah.
So ever since I was 7 years old, I've just enjoyed finding a hat to finish the look. And you know what? It's so much easier than combing my hair and figuring that out. I also get to cut my hair myself, so that saves time. And hats are just fun. And I've also heard, I don't know if this is true or not.
All right.
But people who wear hats have a slightly higher IQ or are perceived to have a slightly higher IQ.
I like that.
I didn't wear a hat enough.
Yeah. I've also heard, though, that people who wear hats lose their hair more quickly. That is not true for you. So you're dispelling those myths.
That's right. I still
wear
have
hats like Jason.
My hair. It's messy because I was swimming in the ocean this morning and I didn't have a chance to comb it out.
That's nice.
But
you don't go into the Atlantic. That's like rule number one. It's just always cold. You're in the Pacific. That's the way to do it.
It's actually starting to warm up now. It's mid-June and it's feeling pretty good out there.
Yeah.
It's the best Epsom salt bath you could ever imagine.
One venue, if you could pick one venue to see a show, whether it's you've already seen a show there and it's your favorite, or you haven't seen a show there and you'd love to, what is it?
Oh, not performing.
No,
it's going to be Tanglewood because I'm on my way there and I'm so excited. We're going to be performing with the Boston Pops. We're going to have my huge band of 12 of us performing the new album, but we're also going to have about 60 musicians behind us, the incredible Boston Pops Symphony Orchestra, helping us project that sound. And there's a few moments in the show where it's really about the symphony, where they play out the song. And I know I'm going to just turn around and maybe even go sit in the front row and just take it in because I get the best seat in the house.
Yeah, you do. You're right.
You should just start takeover conducting.
I won't do that. We have a great conductor. Sean O'Loughlin is phenomenal, and he would not want me to take over.
Might go off the rails.
Well, you know what? This is it's a weeknight, but this will be my notice to my boss right now, who's watching at home somewhere. I won't be in on the morning of July 3rd because I'm going to see Mraz at Tanglewood. That's my sick call right now. Jason, man, thank you so much, dude. Safe travels across the country as you get your tour rolling here. And I know it'll end back up in lovely, lovely San Diego, but we can't wait to see you in Lenox, Massachusetts, man. Thanks.
I'm very excited to be up there. Thank you so much for the chat this morning. It was lovely to talk to you both.
Appreciate you.
It's always a good time there. Doesn't matter where. It's always a good time there.
Play to win a 2024 Chevy Camaro convertible through June 29th. Celebrate 20 years of good times at Saratoga Casino Hotel. Learn more at SaratogaCasino.com.
Imagine coming home after a long day and slipping into your own personal hot tub from Wellness Spas. Let the stress of the day melt away as you soak in the therapeutic benefits of the water. Our team at Alpenhaus wants to help you relax and enjoy the advantages of owning your very own hot tub. We're confident we can help you find the perfect hot tub for you and your family. Alpenhaus Pools and Hot Tubs. Visit us at Clifton Park Center in our newly expanded showroom on Route 30 in Amsterdam.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus. And now, Dirty, Difficult, and Done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
Shout out to Karen and Bill Miller at Performance Industrial. And a shout out to Jason Mraz for jumping on with us this week. Here is my Dirty, Difficult, Done, though, because at Performance Industrial, there's never a job that's too dirty or too difficult for them to get it done. The Mets are making this thing more difficult on themselves than it should be. Mets are making trade deadline life difficult for management, for ownership, for Steve Cohen. They're winning too many games here late in June. This is a team after beating the Yankees on Tuesday night, one game under 500 now, but they're not good enough to win in the playoffs. They're not in a position to make deadline moves that will win them playoff series, right? They might be good enough at this point to say, hey, well, why aren't they good enough? They could make the playoffs. Yes, true. But they need significant improvements on that roster in order to win games in October. They're not in a position to do that. So if the Mets are smart, generally they aren't, they need to look themselves in the mirror and they need to say, yes, we're at the 500 mark, but no, we're not going to win anything big in October. It's not worth going all in 2024. But I think it will deter them from trade. Look, even if the Mets were terrible, and Sam says it's still a mediocre team, for sure, yes. Even if the Mets were terrible, I wouldn't sit here and say they should trade Pete Alonso. He's the face of the franchise. He's the cornerstone. You need somebody to build around, and it isn't Francisco Lindor, despite his monster contract. Alonso's going to be a free agent. I think the Mets should re-sign him. It's not that simple, but I think they should do all they can to keep him. Don't trade him at the deadline. Don't go all in on other guys at the trade deadline either. All right, back in 30 seconds, Siena head coach Gerry McNamara with us.
Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
As a very, novice Syracuse person, having gone to Ithaca, I would ask somebody coming from the Syracuse area to the capital region, like, have you found a better Italian restaurant than Possibilities? Or
Possibilities isn't even the best Italian restaurant in Syracuse, so you're already out.
Or which lake do you prefer, Skinny Atlas or George?
I was going to say nobody prefers Onondaga, so yeah.
Saratoga's the probably more. Okay, yeah. So Ash will control most of this interview because we do actually have to talk about basketball too. But it's going to be a lot of fun here to, I'll just kind of say, finally catch up with the new Siena head coach, Gerry McNamara, of course, a Syracuse legend. And we wanted to let him get settled in, right? Normally TV people and media people are annoying. They don't let you just get settled. It's how soon can we do an interview? It's not even basketball season, so we'll have some fun with the coach.
We gave him a little bit of time. I mean, hired at the end of March, it's June. So we laid off for a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Let's bring him in now to Onorato and Miller. Coach, congratulations, man. Thanks for doing the show. I hope that you feel somewhat settled by now. Do you?
I do. I was really anxious for weeks because it was more recruiting and trying to fill a roster. And now that not only have I filled a roster, my guys are on campus. And I'd say settled is a loose term, considering I'm looking at two boxes in the corner of my office that I still haven't unpacked yet from the move from my old office to this office. I had more important things on my mind, like getting a group together. So I'm starting to settle in a little bit.
That's your first time as a head coach trying to do that, but you're also now, I would say you were behind the 8 ball a little bit, but you're thrown into this situation where at the end of March, you basically now have to fill an entire roster. Do you have guys who are kind of like, whether they're portal guys that are on your list or that you've been communicating with, that you felt like even coming in would be good guys that you immediately go to?
It's kind of a combination of everything. When I got the job, there was a few-week period where I was in, the talks of potentially being hired. So I had to use that time to start to put together a list of potential guys that if I do get this job, I've got to be in position for. And, then it was a combination of previous relationships, whether it be from, Peter Carey, who came with me from Syracuse, or guys that I had recruited that maybe had gone somewhere else that were looking for a fresh start. And then you hit the portal, you hit the television and watch these guys on film. And I think there was 2 or 3 guys that I didn't have a previous relationship with that I just really liked on film, kind of dove in and, created, it's like speed dating, creating a quick relationship. And you just take it from there. So I'm really happy of how efficient. I've got a great staff. I really do. I've got great people in my corner. And I was really happy with how efficient we were in terms of how many visits we had to how many commits we had. I think we had, at one point we were 8 for 8. I think we had 12 total visits and we got 10 commits. So, as far as efficiency goes, we were right up there. So I'm very, very happy right now to have a group together.
That's amazing.
Having gone through Albany in 03 on that national title run, Gerry, you obviously know how passionate this area is for college basketball, but also beyond Siena for Syracuse basketball. And so I'm sure there are a lot of Siena fans who will wonder how much of what we've watched on TV over the last 10, 15 years from Syracuse basketball will we see on the floor at MVP Arena. How is your coaching style similar or different?
I've been lucky. I've worked with some great people. I think you kind of take from everybody you work with. I thought last year was kind of really crucial for me in terms of my development of watching Adrian and being by his side. Because we were both in the same situation, taking over a program, a little bit different in terms of him, following Coach Boeheim. But I look back to some of the guys that I've had the pleasure to work with. Mike Hopkins was my mentor, and Coach Boeheim guided me in both my playing and, professional careers, and then working with the type of staffs I've worked with. So, I've kind of taken a little bit from everybody else, but you're always going to be your own. I think that's the beauty of the luxury that I got to work with Coach Boeheim was he really allowed his assistants to kind of blossom and be themselves and gave them a lot of freedom in terms of their group. So I was really lucky to work with the guard group, and it was kind of my thing. Like they were just turned over to me. So to develop my own voice and, as you go through it and you learn as a coach and you start to see things you like. And I was really happy with some of the offense that we ran last year at Syracuse, and especially the second half of the season and certain packages we put in, and we called them families, so we had different options out of all our different families. And, I'm taking some of the stuff that we did there to here. Obviously the first question is going to be defensively. Are you going to play zone? So, I think you've got to be able to put it in the zone at some point and, flip the flow of a game. Everybody has a game plan, like Mike Tyson said, till you go in there and you get knocked in the face, and you got to flip the momentum. And, I think zone defense for the most part is a big weapon for that. So, just taking a lot and bits and pieces from everybody that I've worked with. And, again, just making it my own and kind of doing it my own way.
Gerry, I know we talked a little bit about this off camera, but for a guy who for 20 plus years has bled orange to now flip the switch, listen, you still got the S. It's not the block S. It's a different S, but you've still got an S. You go from orange to green. You go from New York's college team to what I would call the Capital Region's college team. What has this adjustment been like from you? You'll never lose, obviously, your ties to Syracuse, but kind of throwing, all of your energy and your love into this new opportunity.
Yeah, it's been great. It really has. And I'm always going to, I even said it in my press conference, like, first and foremost, Syracuse University is my alma mater. It's where I raised 4 children. And, but professionally, I had an opportunity of a lifetime in terms of taking over a program that I really believed in, and being just down the road and playing Siena when I was a player at Syracuse. I think twice. So I understand the love, and you alluded to it, the love that the Capital Region has for sports, and in particular, Siena basketball. So for me, it was about, can I match what I fell in love with in the first place at Syracuse, which was the fan support, the community involvement, and people that really, rally behind the program. And Siena matched all that, So for me to get an opportunity to dive into a great community, into a historic program, and have the support of, like the previous stop, of why I loved being there in the first place. So, I haven't lost a game yet, so everybody's been great up here. But it's just been from the start. I just felt really welcomed, and really from administration and John Dargenio and President Seifert right from the start. If I had any questions, had any need, they were there for me. And everywhere I've gone on recruiting visits to different restaurants, everybody's very very happy to see me and see our recruits, and they let them know. I've said it multiple times, this place in a lot of ways sells itself. And I experienced that on recruiting visits where I would go into a place for the first time and people would, come immediately right over to me and introduce themselves, and then go talk to the recruits we had. Like, hey, this is a great place. You should come here. We really support the program. So I'm just really, really happy where I am, and having a blessing to have an opportunity to be a head coach and do it at a place that I think has a chance to be really special.
It's so funny. And this is kind of creepy, Chris. Sorry. Like, you are a celebrity, whether you believe it or not, because you were so well known before you obviously came to be Siena's head coach. But like, I get text messages from random people like, hey, G-Max at Druthers. And I'm like, great. That's weird. Leave him alone.
Yeah. That's one of our spots. That was one of our spots. They're very, very good food, very good environment. I would be admiring the beer behind, looking through where they were brewing it. So we had a list of different places that, Greg Fahey's a friend of mine who's now at Hampton. Greg, as soon as I got the job, he had sent me a list of places that when he was here, like, hey, these are good spots to eat. Yep. And then we kind of found some of our own in the meantime. So it's just been, Druthers is it's been a good one. We've closed a few deals there.
There you go. All right, Gerry, give me a guy that, since you've been coaching, give me a guy that just could never beat you in a three-point shooting contest. Probably tried after practice, before practice, called you out, wanted to challenge you, and you just had his number.
It's crazy is, as a competitor, I think about the guys. I don't even think about those guys. I think about who beat me.
Okay, give me that.
It's like you hate to lose more than you like to win.
Yeah.
So those are the ones you remember. But I've been really, really lucky to be around some great ones. Like that group we had most recent at Syracuse in the last few years with Cole Swider, Buddy Boeheim, and Joseph Girard, like elite shooters. Like, we had so much fun. We didn't have particularly the record that we really wanted to, but what a great group to work with. Like, gave you everything they had every day. But some of the shooting performances were like epic, going at each other. And I don't move quite as well as I used to, so I didn't partake every day. But I've just been, I still like to have fun. I've got a bum left ankle, so I did, certain days are better than others. And I try to get out when I can, but I've just been really lucky to shoot against some great ones. And I'd be lying if I told you they didn't beat me every now and then. Those guys could lace it.
I was going to say, Joseph Girard III is a name that obviously everyone here knows very well. You recruited him out of Glens Falls, got him to stay home, quote unquote, and go to the Cuse. But that dude's as competitive as it gets. And I'm not sure, I don't know, does he like to win more or does he like to lose less? Like, I'm not sure what the answer is to that kid, because he pretty much wanted everything he did.
He's the same as the way I think. I think he hated. I was so happy for him this year to see the run that they went on. Yeah. And Joe's he's become quite a pretty good golfer too. So we've gone golfing a few times over the last few years. And he actually came down and within the first, I think, 3 weeks I was here, him and his father came down and I worked him out in our facility, like on a Saturday morning when we were both going to Ryan Bury, my ops guy, his wedding that night. So they drove down in the morning. We worked out and then drove up to his wedding. So
That's
he's a competitive dude. I'm really rooting for him. He's become a really close friend. You know, that's what you get into. You know, I've said people, you know, and this is the truth. Like once it stops being about relationships, I shouldn't coach anymore. I'm really lucky to have been around a player like him, and great family, great kid. His mom's great. And I'm really rooting for him in this process. I hope that he finds something professionally over the next few years and just thrives. He deserves it. He works hard.
Yeah, he will, no doubt. What was your favorite spot on the floor to shoot from?
Anywhere, I guess.
So if I put you pick wing, top of the key, corner, doesn't matter to me. And we walk you out there, we let you see the rim, and then we blindfold you, and we gave you 10 shots from that spot. How many would you make?
On the 3-point line, probably 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. As long as I can see where I am before you.
Yeah. How about the free throw line?
Oh,
8.
Yeah. So you finished 88%. Is that right on your free throw percentage at Cuse? Did Gerard beat that?
He probably did.
Okay. Yeah. It would have been close.
Little punk.
It would have been close.
Hey, what has changed more in the college game than the length of shorts? This is insane. When we watch video back of you, I think to myself, God, this wasn't that long ago. But look at this. Looks ridiculous.
They were as baggy as the jeans I used to wear, I think. The evolution of the game is just like I grew up. I once played for a coach. I came down, hit 2 threes, and he told me, "Hey, good shot. Don't ever come down and shoot a 3 without passing again." And I looked over at my dad, and my dad's like, "Well, we're not playing here anymore." And I think, when I grew up, it was, don't settle and shoot too many threes. And now, and because of that, you only had 2 or 3 good shooters on the court. Some teams only had 1. A lot of the years that I played at Syracuse, I was really, until my last senior year, we didn't have a lot of shooters. And now the game has just changed so much, even to the big guy. The big guy, there's not a lot of back to the basket bigs anymore, because people want to play through the short roll and kick out for more threes. It's just the way the game has gone. The 3 is deadly. You can't shoot enough of them, and you can't get enough shooters. And it's just completely different than when I grew up. And there was multiple teams when we played at Syracuse, and you shoot more because you're playing against the zone, and a lot of times, but like Colgate would shoot like 50 threes in one game against us. Now the problem is they made like 27 of them.
Yeah.
But the game has just changed. It's a lot different.
Gerry and I overlapped for 2 years at Cuse. And Gerry, I loved you as a player. Obviously, everyone did. But
there's a but coming here.
Yeah.
Arinze Onowaku is one of my all-time favorites. And just from the perspective of like, I've only seen him out a few times, like in public on campus. I think I saw Gerry out one time on a bus from South Campus. And like, we never saw you guys. The campus is huge. Yeah. But Arinze Onowaku was like your quintessential, like, big teddy bear. Like, the man is enormous. But I loved watching him play. And I'm convinced that we'd have another national title if he wasn't hurt that year against Butler. When you put together this staff, what was your goal? I mean, I know you went out and got AO, and there's a lot of Cuse in that. But how did you do it?
I agree with you. We were the best team in the country that year. That was my first year back as a coach. I say to this day, like, I was so lucky that was my first year, because I fell in love with that team, and I just fell in love with the coaching side of it. But when I got this, obviously over the years you talk to guys, especially guys you played with. And when I got the job, I wanted people that I could trust, that were hungry to show what they were capable of doing. Similar to the blessing that Coach Boeheim gave me, an inexperienced former player that he gave me an opportunity. And, Arinze's he's taken the steps to prove that, not just tell me, but to prove like I'm in this. He worked in the G League for 2 years as an assistant coach, and just worked at Gonzaga High School in DC, which is one of the premier high school programs in the country. So I knew he was eager to get a chance. I trust him to work with me. I wanted to be the one to give him the opportunity to show what he's capable of doing. And, within that, then I got a chance to hire Ben Lee from Washington, who's was the youngest Power 5 assistant coach in the country last year, who's got ties to this area, who's got ties through the high school ranks. He's a stud recruiter. He's a grinder. He's very, very similar to me. That's the thing. These guys they're different in their own way, but we all align on one thing, and that's the work. And, Ryan Blackwell, who was a great high school coach, but also a head coach, like that meant something to me. So when I talked to Ryan initially about the position, I said, Ryan, like, I value what you bring to the table. You're a head coach. Like, I don't care what level. Like, it's not easy, and you've got a lot of experience in it. And then I was able to hire Ryan Bury, who was our video guy at Cuse, but he worked under me for 4 years with the guards in terms of skill development, and then 2 years as our GA. So that's been my guy from the time that he stepped foot on campus as a student. So I've got people I really, really trust that I like being around, that motivate me to be my best. I hope that I can do that for them, is motivate them to be better. So I'm just really, really happy with the group we put together.
I got a few quick ones here, Ash, to wrap, and then obviously you always get final word. Coach, put a percentage on this for me. The percentage of people in your life or in this world, you're walking down the street, you're on campus, maybe within the family even, that would be a little weird, to still call you GMAC.
75%.
Yeah, I was going to say it's 50, but that's.
It's like one of the first conversations I have, even with parents and recruits. I was never called GMAC until I stepped foot on campus at Syracuse, and it was Mike Hopkins started calling me GMAC, and then like literally every one of my teammates called me GMAC. So that just became who I was, I guess. And then, I say it when I'm doing a first recruiting call. Hey, it's Coach Mac from Siena. I was like, you just call me GMAC. Everybody else on planet Earth calls me GMAC. So, like literally the guys here, even they'll be like, hey, Coach GMAC. So it's just, it's kind of stuck.
Two more quick ones for me. I like clothes, love clothes. What is the sideline fit as a head coach for you? Are you casual COVID? Are you suited up?
You're looking at it.
Yeah.
I'm casual. Listen, man, I wear sweats to work. You know what I mean? I'm not solving the world's problems here. I'm a basketball coach. And, unfortunately, I had accumulated a few suits that don't fit me as well as they once did. So just, every year buying a suit or two, I don't want to put that on my staff either, where you're spending money on suits. And I know we got to look professional, but
I like that.
I think we can do our part and look pretty professional in casual clothing.
Yeah.
And then the ubiquitous Scranton question. Give me something from The Office that is truthful to Scranton.
All right, so you might be disappointed in me. I haven't watched The Office all the way through in its entirety. Now,
Okay.
I've certainly watched episodes. The one thing that I know for a fact that they do, and I've heard it on multiple episodes, like if they're talking about a place to eat, like all those places are real. Like I think it was the one episode they were arguing about Alfredo's and Alfredo's Cafe. I think so. And that's real. Like there's two different Alfredo's.
I like that.
Yeah. So, and the one thing that's funny is years ago that good friends of mine Timmy Holmes, who worked at the Scranton Times at the time. Timmy was like, the go-between between any appearance that any of the actors did in Scranton, the actual actors. And Timmy had reached out to me and asked me like, hey, is it all right if they use your bobblehead and put it on Dwight's desk? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So like they sent me over the stuff and I didn't ask for like money or anything. I'm like, yeah, whatever they want to do. And I just signed it off. So I think in the later seasons, if you look on Dwight's desk, there's actually a bobblehead of me on there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Now I got to go back and watch more carefully.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I know I signed off on it.
Yeah. We love that show. Last thing, Coach, when I know this is kind of like a long-term question. Do you have a short-term, like, are you a short-term goal guy? Like, do you just want to go make this team better and improve? Or are you already thinking about like, no, this is a team, like I have a goal to get to the tournament or win a MAC title. Like, do you think that far ahead?
I try not to. I think mainly because I've always been that one of the great things about working for Coach is he never got too high, too low. It was always about being consistent. And I've done it too long that I've seen a lot of teams. And as you know, like you watch some of our Syracuse teams, like we were okay. And then at the end of the year, like we started getting a lot better. So I've just you got to remind yourself in the process to stay in it day by day and just keep grinding. Like I was really unhappy. We have today off, but I was really unhappy with our Monday practice. And I went home Monday night and I was just I flipped it in terms of it's not their fault. How can I make what we did today better? I didn't like the way we executed, so I made a couple adjustments in the offense, and I was really happy with yesterday's practice. So you just got to stay in that process in terms of keeping it day by day and just trying to get them to be their best version. And as you go on, you're going to start to see guys on your team start to separate and they start to earn more minutes. Some guys might play themselves out of some minutes, and you start to see your team kind of take shape as the year progresses. And it's my job to try to get them to be their best. And I'm going to do my best not to look too far ahead. And I have all those goals. I want to get to the tournament. I want to win the MAC. I want to get to that MAC tournament and win it. I want to be one of those teams in the NCAA tournament that is running on the court because you upset a team. I want to accomplish all those things. I just think there's such a process to try to get to that. And I've got to remind myself to stay in it.
There's no way it's ever been more challenging to be a head coach in college athletics. And Coach GMAC gets his shot at Siena. We can't be more excited than we are. We took you overtime on a day off. That's bad on us. We'll
Not
pay
6
the penalty
overtimes.
later.
Thank God.
Not
Six
right.
overtimes.
Yeah. Jerry, thank you, man.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Thanks.
Appreciate the time.
Get ready for the thrill of a lifetime with Tracker fishing boats. Available at Alpenhaus. Feel the rush as you reel in your trophy catch, supported by Tracker's unmatched stability. Prepare to conquer any challenge with cutting-edge tech at your fingertips and the freedom to explore without limits. Make waves this season and experience the ultimate fishing adventure with Tracker fishing boats at Alpenhaus. Your source for fun since 1964.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Good stuff there with Gerry McNamara, Siena's new head coach. Told you we were guest heavy this week. Fun being able to chat with Jason Mraz and GMAC. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week on Onorato and Miller.